Mexico is one of the world's mega diverse countries. In about 1.7% of the world's land, they have about 10% of the world's wildlife. 39% of the world's cetacean species can be found here, so that's whales and dolphins. And the fish species, about 10% of them are endemic, which means they only live here, and there are almost 1,000 fish species. The islands in the Gulf are home to more plant species than any other islands on the World Heritage listing. And that's saying something for a desert.
Baja is like one of the top destinations for kayaking. No dry suits, a lot of sort of dynamic environment if you want. Like we have the Pacific, we have the Gulf, and above all it's just like vast areas of beautiful wilderness, which makes it really special.
I definitely recommend Baja. I think it's kind of a surprise because a lot of people think of it just as desert and don't realize this place is teeming with life. Just a gorgeous place.
I'm Ginni Callahan. I'm Ginni Callahan and I'm a Baja addict and a kayak addict. Surf camp! We're here! This is where the sea taught me to paddle. Wasn't always pretty. I've been hanging out here off and on for 17 years with surfers who said, you can't do that in the kayak. So I'd go around the corner, figure it out, come back and learn. The wave is really friendly and kind of nurturing. The human environment is kind of too. There's nothing I love better than just being out at sunrise and a nice calm morning and playing with the waves and letting them play back a little bit. I came down on the invitation of a friend, and somehow life sometimes turns on the finest of hinges, and I never planned to come back, and I never planned to be a kayak guide, and accidents happen, so here I still am.
Ginni's been guiding sea kayaking in Baja for 20 years. That now includes offering week-long surf camps on this remote Pacific point break, with accommodation in rustic palapas right on the beach.
Oh, it is so sweet. It's like the morning meditation and exercise and bath all in one. I just love being here, I really do.
Ginni started Sea Kayak Baja, Mexico in 2007. She runs guided trips from 1 to 21 days, as well as custom trips.
After nearly a decade of guiding in the Loreto area, big groups, no experience necessary, which is mostly about cooking, I decided it was worth the risk to try something different, and started Sea Kayak Baja, Mexico.
The home base of Loreto provides access to 5 major islands, all part of a national marine park. Their diverse beauty make them an ideal destination for expedition-style kayaking trips.
I love everything about coming here in Sea Kayak Baja, Mexico. The place is fabulous. I love seeing all the animals. I love the kayaking. It's just the whole experience that Sea Kayak Baja, Mexico puts on through the people who come and the guides and what they do, because they have the best equipment. This is where I learned to kayak, basically. I feel safe and supported. It's just a great experience all around.
In 2015, Ginni organised a custom expedition in the north of the Sea of Cortez.
Driving to our destiny.
We are really excited to be here and explore this island. Yeah, we are all pretty amazing.
We're doing Isla de la Guarda, which is the second biggest island in Mexico, second biggest in the Gulf. It is about 200 nautical miles around with the crossings, and it is uninhabited, so no water, no food, no humans, really. So 14 days, 200 nautical miles, second biggest island in Mexico. Woohoo! My name is Santiago Berrueta. I'm a sea kayak coach and professional guide from Mexico. Nowadays I live in Montreal, where I own and operate KLN, Kayak Latin du Nord, and I do coaching and guiding in different international locations. We're hiking up the volcano, Coronado. So we're waking up at 5-ish, and then just before sunrise do a hike up the volcano and then cross to Isla de la Guarda.
Calisthenics for the morning. It's the top of the world! Well,
Top of Coronado.
top of Coronado.
Yeah.
Yeah!
I think this is the first time I ever hike a volcano before I done a 15-mile crossing. So, woohoo!
We took kayak sails on our Ángel de la Guarda expedition. We used them on the very first crossing with about 15 knots of wind from the side and paddling along. It's quite fun. We were hooting and hollering. One advantage is fun. It's just another way to play with the kayak. Another advantage is covering more ground in less time, and that can be a safety issue. For example, arriving before dark, or arriving with a little bit more energy when you get to camp. That was really fun! Sometimes you go faster, sometimes you don't go faster, the boat just feels lighter. And if you've ever done an expedition, you know that the advantage that could be when you arrive with just a little bit more energy. Ángel de la Guarda is one of the biggest islands. I think it's the second biggest island in the Gulf of California, or Sea of Cortez, and it's said that once you get around the east side of it, you're in some of the remotest places in the Gulf of California, just because it's so far from anything. There are no villages on it right now. There have in the past been a few fish camps. There may be some cruisers or some temporary fishermen camping out, but that's it. Other than that, a few stray kayakers once in a while might come by. It's quite diverse geologically. There's a lot of colors, mostly volcanic with a lot of pumice. Right there, wow.
It's in the northern part of the Gulf. Not the most easy trip to do in terms of logistics and accessibility to water and reading currents and having information about the currents, but definitely worth it. It's just a beautiful island and remote wilderness.
I don't think this cardone has ever had the flute played to it at sunrise before. Cardones are the world's biggest cacti. They don't branch until they're about 50 to 100 years old, and this one is massive. Oh, it's just humbling and wonderful to be in its presence.
We're in, I guess, the east side of Ángel de la Guarda, near Punta Rocosa, which is probably the crux of our trip. It's also a pretty impressive point. We're doing a bunch of rock gardening, seeing dolphins, playing in caves. It's just been a great afternoon.
Delightful. We've done a little sailing, a little fishing, just spectacular views.
This place is amazing. It's like point after point after point of beautiful rocks. We're so lucky to be here. Perfect weather, it's just amazing.
So somebody was mixing cake batter and didn't quite mix it completely, and then it hardened on them, and that's how we got punta ricosa. Scientifically proven.
The sea caves on Punta Rocosa, northeast of the island, was pretty amazing. It was huge. So I really enjoyed to be and explore all that stuff, caves. My name is Ramon. I'm a kayak guy, and I'm from San Isidro, a little town northwest Loreto. When I was studying on the university, we have like a course of kayaking option. So I took it and I liked it. I went to Baja, Mexico and asked if I can do it, and say okay. For me, it's not like a job, but because it's something that I really enjoy, to be here and with nice people, and just to be up there to see the stars, and you know, being in contact with all the nature is really amazing.
There's crazy stuff growing all over the rocks, and there's another room back here. Woo! There are a number of species of dolphins in the Sea of Cortez. Bottlenose are pretty common to see, so are common dolphins. If you see 5 or 6 dolphins, there are probably at least 3 times that many. You don't often see the whole group at once. This is an incredibly rich area. It's one of the richest marine environments on the globe. There's the big sexy megafauna, such as the fin whales. Down in the Loreto area, the blue whales are pretty common. Besides having a heart the size of a Volkswagen Beetle and a tongue the size of an elephant, there's a lot we don't know about blue whales, the biggest animal ever to have inhabited the planet. One reason we don't know a lot is because they're hard to find. It's hard to hide being that big, but the ocean's a really big place. Loreto is unique in the world in that the whales come close enough to shore and spend enough time here that people can actually go observe them. There are sea lions. There are no seals in the Sea of Cortez. That's an easy way to tell the difference between a sea lion and a seal. If you see it, it's a sea lion.
There are just hundreds of sea lions here, it's amazing. Loads of them in the water, really cool.
There are sea turtles. 5 of the world's 7 species of sea turtles can be seen in the Sea of Cortez. We're in front of a cliff of blue-footed boobies, which are endemic to the Sea of Cortez and the Galapagos Islands. Which means this is the only place that they live. They also like to perch on these kind of north or northeast facing cliffs. I don't think they're either claustrophobic or afraid of heights. These are fin whales and they are feeding. Fin whales are the 2nd largest animal ever to have inhabited the planet. They're in the rorqual family, and rorqual just refers to their throat pleats.
Look at that, look at that.
Oh! Wow! You can see the throat pleats on that one. They feed by opening their mouth really wide, scooping up a bunch of seawater, so they get almost twice as big with that big throat all expanded, and then they squeeze the water out with their tongue and filter it through the baleen and eat krill. So the biggest animals on the planet eat some of the smallest animals on the planet.
The noise when they're that close is amazing. It's quite a gentle noise, but it's really, really loud.
It's pretty freaking amazing. Hey, it's a cabrilla. I'll make a couple of nice fish tacos. Smile for the camera. Thank you, fish.
A good size.
This one is a Mexican barracuda, and it's a pretty meaty fish. And that'll make a couple of nice tacos also.
I got a fish! I got a fish! Look!
You have dinner.
It's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, we eat like this every day. Yum. Thanks to Ramon for cooking, and thanks to the fish for showing up at the end of the line. Made a gringo burrito. It's gonna be a little too big to actually eat. Real Mexicans don't put rice in their burrito. Santi told me this.
Oh, really?
It's not Santi who say that. It's Santi's grandma. Real Mexicans hold their tacos like English hold their tea. Pinky up. The wind just picked up from like sunset to now, like from 10 knots to probably 30 gusting something. So we're doing dishes between three because otherwise they'll fly away. There are some wavelets in the Dutch oven.
This looks like important mathematics going on.
Yeah, I'm dividing the half by 5. Paddling in Baja, there are a few wind patterns to be aware of. One is the norte. It's a north wind. It can blow for several days. It can be 15 knots or it can be 40.
Nice windy day.
And actually that's the wind pattern that drives the upwelling that feeds the Sea of Cortez. That's where the richness comes from. Plan is to head south down the west side of the island. And the forecast, of course, is southwesterly on our nose. Woohoo!
It's good, a little bit of headwinds, but beautiful day.
Here we are taking shelter in a shipwreck from the wind. It's amazingly calm in there. That was character building. I'm glad to be here. I think I can see better without the glasses. In Baja, the plants have to deal with the heat as much as the people do. Some of them have adapted to photosynthesize through the stem, such as cacti are a great example of that. This cardone is using this other plant. It's a nurse plant, so it's growing in the shade. It's getting its start and it needs a little bit less water because it's not just out in the beating sun, but eventually that cardone will outgrow the plant around it and kind of take its water. Not a very thankful thing to do, but that's one strategy for getting started in the desert. Oh, Palo Verde! Photosynthesizes through the green trunk. Gosh, it's a chupacabra egg. It's really rare to see the nests and the eggs of these things. They have horns like a goat, they jump like kangaroos, they drink the blood of cows, and it's really scary to encounter them in the wild.
After 13 days, we circumnavigate the island and return to mainland Baja.
We made it! We had a weather window to cross today, and we just crossed, we're back!
An expedition, or even a little kayak trip, isn't so much something that you take, it's something that you give yourself to. I guess that's part of my philosophy of running a company too.
I highly recommend to come to Baja. It's just quite a special place. It's the delta of the Colorado River, hundreds of islands, and we have all this vast remote wilderness with a lot of marine mammals and cacti and all sort of like nature. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I think my favorite thing is that because I don't have to use a drysuit, my skills are just improved. I feel much more flexible. I feel that my muscles are happier, and so I oftentimes nail things that I wouldn't do in the cold environment, like surfing stuff and rolling and things like that, just because it's warm and your muscles like it.
Spending time in Baja has really helped reshape my ideas of what is important, what's essential, what's not essential. I don't know, I think it's an addiction. I'm not sure there's a cure. I'm not sure I want a cure. This is my life's work, and I'm proud of it. My best guess is it's like some remnant pile of blubber from a whale from a dead thing, yeah.
So is this your idea of fun?
That's a really good question. That's kind of sick, isn't it?
You know, back in the time, sea people used to take vitamin C for scurvy. Nowadays we do vitamin T.
Well, Ginny's been fishing for like the last hour trying to get us some fish for dinner, and she totally failed to get anything. Just a little stroll by me and I've got us 2 fish for dinner! How important is it to maintain a healthy diet while on trips?
Oh, it's absolutely critical to balance the chocolate and the peanut butter and the colors, especially when you're paddling into a headwind, because it's absolutely essential to keep that energy up. And this is actually pretty well balanced, see.
We need to go back to the mainland. We need to go back.
We made it!
You're drifting away!